Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and right now I'm sitting here in my thinking chair, my beanbag chair, throwing it all the way back to elementary school. If you were in grade school, you may remember these. But yeah, that's where I like to sit in my room and just think about life and just hash out things going on in my head. And in this video, I want to talk about life. I don't want to talk about boxing because, quite frankly, I'm not really feeling the boxing. I know we got Charles Castano undisputed this weekend. Great fight, excited for it. Should be fun. We got some big fights on the horizon, but I'm not really feeling boxing with the whole Fury Wilder thing going on. You got Canelo Alvarez who still don't want to fight Demetrius Andrade, despite the fact that he won't be fighting Caleb Plant next, more than likely. You got the Caleb Plant Canelo negotiations, which, you know, I think they're bad on both sides, but that's another discussion for another day. I'm just not really feeling boxing. I'm getting sick of I'm getting less tolerable when it comes to the political side of boxing. It's really my patience is running thin with it. I love boxing the sport, but when it comes to the business of boxing interfering with the sport, I just don't have the patience that I used to have. If I wanted to hear about politics, I would go listen to CNN or C-SPAN or Fox News or the Tatum Report or one of them other political channels on YouTube, Candace Owens or the Young Turks or any one of them. I'd go listen to them if I wanted political news. But what I wanted to speak about was something more personal, something that hits a lot closer to home, and I feel like maybe this video could be helpful to some of you guys out there. Now, for those of you who really follow this channel, you guys know I made that video recently where I was sitting in a park and I was explaining to you guys why I nearly left covering the sport of boxing. That was like maybe 4 or 5 days ago, I'm gonna say. And not too long after that, I'm gonna say within a day or two of me posting that video, I got some of the worst news of my life. Pops wound up having a heart attack and he damn near died that same day. Now I wasn't around him when this happened. I was in another part of town, an hour away. But basically what wound up happening was my father had heart problems. There was a blockage on the left side of his heart, a blockage in his arteries on the left side of his heart. So he wasn't really able to, function properly, and he couldn't go to work that day. And they had to do a whole operation, and the doctors were saying that if he would have went to the hospital 30 minutes later or an hour later, he would have died that day. So that's really been on my mind recently, and it's just so crazy to me to think like I've put a lot of years into covering the sport of boxing, and there's other things in life that I want to achieve that I'm using boxing to help me work towards. Um, but it's crazy when you have a loved one that, my dad is like. For those of you who don't know, my father is like, in my life, he's everything. He's everything. Like there is nobody more important in life than Pops. Now I know that one day, hopefully it's not anytime soon, but I do know that one day there will come a time where Pops is no longer here, and I understand that. But when it happens, when your loved one, and I'm relatively young, I'm 26. I haven't really had anybody close to me, immediate family wise, like die. I've had like friends die, and I've had people I know like from school die, but not like immediate family members. So I don't truthfully know what that's like yet. Um, but Pops almost died, man, and when I saw him, because I found out on social media. He didn't even call me. He posted a thing on Instagram, and I found it on social media. And when I saw my Pops on the hospital bed, that really everything else just kind of stopped mattering. Like, I love boxing, and I put so many years into covering the sport, and I'm gonna keep continuing to cover the sport. But when you see your father on a hospital bed, and now, like, even now, I don't want to get too into detail about what's going on with him now, because I'd rather him put that out there. I don't know if he wants to put it out there, but like, his life isn't the same. Like, he's still alive, he's functioning, he made it home safely. Thank the Lord for that. But his life is not going to return to the way it was before he had that heart attack and that health scare on that day. There's things and precautions he has to take now that he had to take back then. So it just goes to show you, man, like, all this stuff in life that we think is important. Like, for me, the most important thing in my life as far as what I wanted to accomplish was to be one of the best, if not the best, boxing content creator out there. I wanted to have the best interviews. I wanted to make videos and interviews that 50 years from now, 100 years from now, people will look back on and say, man, that was a great interview. Like I wanted to produce high quality boxing content, and I wanted my channel to shoot up exponentially. That's what I wanted to do, right? But then like when you see your pops on a hospital bed and you're faced with the possible reality that he might not be on this earth much longer, everything shrinks. Any sort of money you wanted to make in life, it don't matter like it used to. um you know Traveling to these cities and going to these bougie restaurants doesn't matter no more. Obtaining status in the boxing world doesn't matter no more. None of this matters no more. So I say all this to say that, like, I've been the last 4 or 5 days, I haven't really been able to function. I made one video, but after that I wasn't really able to function properly. So the last couple of days I just been really, I'll show you guys. This is my thinking chair. So like, I got my Bible right there. I just been reading through the good book, and really sharpening up on just like, what the word of God says, and what the Ten Commandments say and things like that. And the one that's been really getting to me recently is in the Bible, when it talks about honoring your parents, honoring your mother and honoring your father. And I feel like in my life I've always honored my father very well, because my dad has made incredible sacrifice for me in my life. I couldn't have asked for a better father than my dad. Um, so the fact that just being tasked like in such an abrupt and subtle fashion for my dad to be on a hospital bed, going under operations, and his life being in danger, that this boxing stuff was so unimportant to me. I don't give a fuck about. I didn't care about Wilder and Fury and their whole back and forth. And did Fury get COVID or not get COVID? I don't care about Canelo Alvarez and Caleb Plant's negotiations. I don't care about Al Heyman trying to screw Canelo Alvarez over with a bad 5 to 6 fight deal. None of that matters. So I'm saying all this to say, like, whatever you guys think is important in life, it could be like personal success, like whatever your career is. Like if you're a doctor or a lawyer, or maybe you work for a Fortune 500 company, or maybe you just have a regular 9 to 5 job, or whatever it is that's important to you. It's not really as important as you think it is when you have a loved one that's going through health problems. Um, and like this is all like this is like all so elementary, but and I've heard people say this before, but I think now that something's happened to someone that I love dearly, like my dad is golden. Like I will do anything for my dad. Anything for my dad. There's not a thing on this earth that I would not do for my dad. That's how much he means to me. He's the only person I can truly say that about, that I would do anything for my dad. So yeah, like you gotta love and cherish your family while they're here, man, because that's really what matters. Boxing does not. Boxing matters to a point, especially if you're someone like me. Boxing matters a lot if you're someone like me. But like these fighters and not just boxing, but sports. Like sports don't even matter. Like sports has taken such, like, year by year as I'm getting older, like sports has taken a. Because look, I'll show you. Look in my room. I don't know if y'all can see that picture. That's a Dontrell Willis autographed picture. For those of you who don't know, Dontrell Willis he was a really good pitcher on the Florida Marlins, or the Miami Marlins. He was Rookie of the Year in 2003. That Marlins team went on to win the World Series. That dude right there was one of my childhood heroes, and I remember I got this picture when I was like 13 or 14 years old, and that picture used to mean everything to me. And look, we've been moved in this. I've been in this room where we stay at now for like I don't know how many months now. Still haven't even hung it up. So what I'm saying is, like, the things that you think matter don't matter. I don't care about like I'm a huge diehard Marlins fan. Like I love the Marlins. I can count on one hand how many things in my life that I love more than the Marlins and Marlins baseball. But like that's even taken a decrease in my life. The Hornets, I love the Charlotte Hornets, Carolina Panthers, Florida Panthers, Everton Football Club. These are all my teams. Obviously, most of the teams I named to you guys are all teams that traditionally struggle, but have had their fair share of glories and triumphs in the past. But like, value your family, honor your parents, honor your mother and your father, because that's what matters, man. Um, Success doesn't matter. Money doesn't matter. Status doesn't matter. None of that matters. That stuff only matters in the context of like how you can leverage those things to help those around you. So like if you have money and you are successful and you have status, you can use those things to be resourceful to those around you. But even that doesn't matter sometimes, because sometimes you can do those things with pure intentions and be pure in spirit and do those things. But people still will take advantage of you within your own family. So even that is vanity. The good book in Ecclesiastes. King Solomon. This man had all the riches, right? King Solomon had all the riches. He had all the money. He had all the baddest women. He had all the things that you could want as a man in life, and he was sorrowful. Like he was sad. Like he had everything. He said it was vanity upon vanity. It was all a waste. It was nothing. He experienced all of life's pleasures, and at the end of it, he just found no satisfaction, no fulfillment, no good. And he even said, with more wisdom comes more sorrow. With more wisdom that he ascertained and that he obtained in life, the more sorrow he experienced. And like I'm going through kind of the same thing with boxing. Like I love boxing, and and not just boxing, but like dealing with people in the boxing world and within life in general, because I do have a life outside of boxing. Dealing with people outside of boxing and dealing with people in boxing, dealing with people in general, the more I learn about how humans truly are, and how wicked we are, and how wicked I am as a person at times, you know, the more sorrowful I grow, because the more I understand. And it's like this ridiculous paradox that goes on in life, that's going on with me right now when I go through life. And I know I'm rambling right now, and I know I'm all over the place, but I just wanted to use this video to vent, because there's more to life than boxing. There truthfully is more to life than boxing. Um, and I just hope, like, I hope, I hope everybody just really takes the time to get the priorities in life in order. Like, get it all in order. Like, all this sports, not even just sports, but I use sports because that's something that's very relatable in my life. I consume a lot of sports, from boxing to other stuff. So that's why I say sports. Sports and all these things we put on this great, grand, massive pedestal. They're all just false idols. They're all just when it becomes like the number one thing, our number one source of joy. It's just all false idol. Idolatry and worship. And that's why, like, we gotta keep God at the forefront and at the center of everything we do. We have to, because there's no joy in this world apart from God. There's no joy in this world apart from, living for Him. There's no joy. There's no joy. There's no sustainable joy, even in our accomplishments, even in the things that we think would fulfill us. There is no joy in that. There's no joy in, even for me. Like, I'll use myself as an example. If True School Sports gets 100,000 subscribers and 50 million views, or 100 million views, whatever the number is, whatever is that big number in my mind, and I'm making crazy, 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 crazy money, right? Whatever that, even if I get to that, that won't sustain me. That won't bring me joy. If you're someone who's going to college or whatever, if you're shooting for a degree or a bachelor's or a master's degree, whatever it is, and you think that's gonna fulfill you alone, it's not. If you think a good job's gonna fulfill you, it's not. If you think like a fine female is gonna fulfill you, it's definitely not. I mean, not to brag, but like, I've had a couple here and there, and it's not all. Even that's not all it's cracked up to be. It really isn't. So I know I'm all over the place, but all I'm saying is, in this world, there's so much bullshit that we're chasing after, and I really feel like God's got my undivided attention. What happened with my dad? So like, I'm gonna keep talking about boxing, but every now and then we might just not talk about boxing, because boxing, as much as I love it, I'm gonna keep talking about it because there's definitely some fights coming up worth talking about. We got this weekend's fight with Charles Castagna, which deserves to be talked about. We got Pacquiao Spence. We got Cholatito Estrada 3. Got some good fights coming up, man. Some real good fights. Some good matchups with good fighters that deserve coverage. But all the politics and all the A side, B side, purse split, mumbo jumbo that's killing the sport and making it more of a niche sport in America year after year. I'm not with it. I'm really just not with it at all. And I I I really only care about the sport. I don't care about the business. For honestly, the business can go fuck itself for all I care. It can go fuck itself. I don't care about the business of boxing, because the business of boxing never cared about me. And truthfully, the business of boxing doesn't care about anything but the business of boxing itself. So there's no business for me to care about the business of boxing, and neither is it for the fans. I just hope these fighters could get in and get out the sport their faculties in check, make a lot of money, live a good, prosperous life with their family, and if at all possible, like get back to the sport, get back to the younger fighters and things like that. Things of that nature. Because the one thing I know about boxing and younger fighters, because I know quite a lot of younger fighters here in the South Florida area, is that younger fighters are always in need of guidance, because there's never a how-to on how to navigate the business of boxing. But I know I'm off track, and I'm talking about boxing again. But like, my father is back home. He's good now, but he's not the same. He's not the same. I love him to death. I'm gonna do my best to take care of him. I will take care of him. There's no doing. I will take care of my father, and that's what it is. Like, I'm not. I really have no interest in any shenanigans in boxing. I don't care about the business. I don't care about none of that. All I care about is these fights happening, the fighters being at the absolute best, and talking about that. If it doesn't pertain to actually fighting, throwing a jab, how does fighter A defend the right hand from fighter B? How does fighter B impose his pressure style on fighter A? If it's not things of that nature, I really have no interest in it. So yeah, I'm gonna close this video out by saying that, just value, get your, like, people please, like, you can like sports, you can definitely enjoy them, enjoy boxing, because I definitely enjoy boxing. I'm gonna continue to enjoy boxing, but have your priorities in order. Like, your family is your main priority. Like, my father, and he's always been a priority of mine, but now it's like areas of my life as a man that maybe I even have stepping in, I will no longer, I can't, I have to take care of my father. I cannot allow him to go through anything more than he's already gone through. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa. Same thing goes for my mother, who I have not had the best relationship with. I saw her about a week and a half ago. We're working on that as well, because these are the things that, like, your mother and your father, honoring them, these are the things that give you true riches in life. And it's taken me 26 years of life to truly understand this and grasp this very elementary concept. But your mother and your father, honoring them, respecting them, and doing all you can for them to honor them, by the way you talk to them, treat them, and conduct yourselves towards them, that's what's going to give you true riches in life. Not money, not how much stocks you have, not how much crypto you have. All that stuff is cool, and they're add-ons. But like, the only thing that truly matters in this world is honoring your family, honoring God, and just living a noble, respectable life that impacts the life of others. That's all that matters. And I'm gonna leave it at that.